It's another delicious day here in the Let's Make Food from Food Kitchen, and it's another Friday's Muddled Up. Today we're not making a cocktail, we're making a mixer. I'm gonna make some grenadine. Not that complicated to make. It is pomegranate juice and sugar. That's it. You can use vodka as a preservative to make it last longer. Otherwise it's good for maybe 2-3 weeks in the fridge. So I will probably do that. Technically, once you add the liquor, it becomes a liqueur, but I'm going to show you how to make the grenadine, and I'm going to show you how to add the vodka to extend the life. So I've got my pot here going on a medium heat. I have 1 cup of freshly made pomegranate juice. I will put a link down below on how to make that. If you don't want to make it yourself, go to the store, buy a bottle of it. Just make sure it doesn't have anything added in it. It should say 100% pomegranate juice. Here we go. So I'm going to pour this in. Okay, and I am going to just put in my 1 cup of sugar. I'm going to grab a whisk, which I should have already done. This has been how my day's been going. I'm like, oh, I need this tool I forgot to grab before I switch to play on the camera. I guess it'd be record, not play. Okay, we're going to stir this up. I want my sugar to completely dissolve. Once the sugar is completely dissolved, you can call it done. Or, if you want it to be a little thicker, you could cook it down on low for about, I'd say 10 minutes, but just do it on low. You don't want it sticking to the bottom, burning, anything like that, just a low simmer. So I've got this on a 5, a medium, and that's gonna go until I start seeing that simmer happen. Once the simmer happens, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it down. I do like it thicker, and because I do plan on adding a little bit of vodka to it, I want it to be thicker because it'll thin out more once I add that vodka. One thing to keep in mind is as it cools, it will thicken up a little bit, so don't go all the way until it's the consistency you want when it's done. You need to stop a few minutes before it gets to that consistency, otherwise it'll be super thick. Okay, this has simmered and it's cooled a little. It's still hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and pour it in here without making a huge mess. There we go. I just want to give it a little taste to make sure I'm happy with it. That's grenadine. Yummy. Now, I need to let this cool more completely, really, before I use it in my next video, which is going to be, anyone? Something with grenadine. I'm making the rum runner. You might remember, if you've been watching along, that I went to the Florida Keys with good friend Sherilyn, and we kind of went from Key Largo all the way down to Key West. We stopped at places, we had delicious food, delicious cocktails, and I decided that I was gonna pick one from the trip to make, and it's the rum runner. Partly because it has a history in Islamorada, but I'll talk about that in that video. But I needed grenadine, and I thought, self, why are we not making it? So I did. So there's one more step that we can do. This is good to go. Once it cools off, I can put it in the fridge. It'll be good for 2 or 3 weeks. But I don't go through a lot of grenadine, so I want it to last longer. Well, what do? Add some vodka. Now, technically, once you add the liquor, it kind of becomes a liqueur. For this, I'd need to add about 1 cup for it to be an actual liqueur, but I don't want to add that much. I'm going to add 2 ounces of 80 proof. Use a good vodka if you can, and the higher the proof, the longer it'll help preserve your grenadine. Now, you don't want to put this in before you boil it because that will cook out the alcohol, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to add my 2 ounces, and then I'll give it a shake, and it'll be ready to store. I'm still going to keep it in the fridge because I'm not making it a liqueur. I'm just preserving it with the vodka. So there it is. Thanks for joining me here today in the Let's Make Food from Food Kitchen for another episode of Muddled Up. From my kitchen to yours, cheers.
That's one boy puppy.